Hello everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Please take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy.
People who lost their virginity to a paid worker, what was your experience? I totally do. I was 16, grew up in Amsterdam, you know the rest. She was some kind of Eastern European, it was rushed, she was impatient, I didn't finish. I felt terrible. My friends who had come downtown with me were pissed that I'd spent the last of my cash and couldn't go to the movies after. I regret it. But, my life isn't any worse for it, so I don't regret it that much. When I was in the military, one of my friends was a virgin, so a bunch of his other friends pulled in money to get him a prostitute. They paid this prostitute $600 to take his virginity. They left the two alone, and when they were done, the prostitute went on her way. Everyone asked my friend how it went, as he was glowing and seemed super proud of himself. He said, "That girl just gave me an amazing handjob." So he became known as the $600 handjob guy. Found a place catering to foreigners while visiting Japan, cost was about $200 for an hour. Pictures online were misleading, as expected, girl wasn't that attractive. Still very happy with my decision. Got the monkey off my back, learned some stuff about myself, now know what to expect, to some extent, when it happens for real. Wasn't exactly my virginity, as I lost that when I was 19. But from when I was 19 to 22 I didn't have any sex at all, so it was basically my second time ever having sex. On vacation in Germany I visited a brothel. If I recall correctly, it was €60 to enter and 60 per session. I went around 4 p.m. and stayed until 3 a.m. and had 4 sessions. Overall it was a fun time and I enjoyed it a lot. Food and non-alcoholic drinks were included as well. The buffet was actually quite nice. There were maybe 50 or so women working, and you could go up to any of them and just ask them for a session. They also had a bunch of jacuzzis, pools, and a sauna. Honestly though, everyone there was super professional, including the people at the front desk. Everyone also spoke English decently well. Most people were foreigners, I didn't hear much German being spoken. I actually heard a lot of American English, British English, and Nordic languages. I even ran into someone from my city who was a VP at a large engineering company in my country, which was kind of interesting. If you are thinking about it, don't do it. Not worth it. It's not the end of the world, but I can guarantee you, you will walk out of there thinking like, that's it? Really not the same thing as real sex, like not even close. It's really not like in the movies, you just feel dirty afterwards. I don't care admitting it. I go once in a while when I have a terrible day at my job and I just want to have 30 minutes of fun and think about something else. Even then it's really not that great. It was boring, if I'm honest. She was a cool older woman and we had a bit of a chat before starting. We had no emotional connection, just physical contact. The intercourse itself wasn't bad and basically I had no pressure, so I didn't have any troubles. After I came I cleaned myself, said bye and left. It wasn't bad, but if it was today I wouldn't do it probably. Emotion connection is important for intercourse, not just for the first time, but it's always needed. So basically I don't know the name of the woman I lost my virginity, neither I remember her face. I don't feel bad or good about it, to be honest. Just happened that way, no big deal. My advice if you are considering it is not to do it. It's better if you do it with a girl you like or just a friend. I was a freshman in college 1990. I had nearly lost it to a girl in my dorm, but couldn't do it because she had a boyfriend, and I was scared. So weeks later I drove down to the local army base. There was rumor of massage parlors there. I found this trailer right off the main road with a red light on, so I pulled in the lot. There was a walled-in area to park in and sorta hide your car as you went in. I went in and there was a sorta unattractive woman in lingerie there. She called out, and slightly better looking Asian in lingerie came out and took me back to her room. She told me it was $35 for head and $75 for sex. I was a pretty broke college student and told her all I had was $50. Truth, and she left, went out and talked to the other lady, came back and told me to get undressed and gave me a condom. She stripped, laid on the bed and had me get on top of her. I had no clue what I was doing. She put me inside her and I pumped away. I came relatively quickly but kept going as not to disappoint. I'm sure she knew and it didn't bother her either way. I didn't know how to finish, so I just stopped at one point and she asked if I was done and I said yes. She got up, gave me a towel and then went over to a bowl of water in the corner. She squatted over it and proceeded to wash her genital in it while I dressed. It was really an odd ending to the experience. I got in my car and drove back to the dorm. It wasn't good, it didn't help me understand women, myself or sex, it was really demeaning for both parties. Would I recommend it for a first time? Mostly no, unless the person knows themselves better and hires an understanding and competent person. A year or more later I met my ex-wife and she was my first real sex, and I laughed uncontrollably afterwards as the feelings were incredible with someone who mattered to me and who cared for me as well. I'm an escort and I've seen a number of virgins. I think it can be helpful to them because they can be honest with me about how nervous they are. Usually we go slow and I'll answer all the questions and show them how different acts are done, give tips, and info on how to talk to future partners about various acts, would you like if I did this, etc. And I give tips on reading body language so they know if a partner is down to pound. Obligatory, not me, but a friend. It was a classic "we're in Amsterdam" type scenario. Literally, this happened in Amsterdam. He got pressured by his friends. Didn't like it, but went for it anyways. Thankfully the girl was nice and careful about it. It was very technical and she sent him on his way. She was kind enough to yell out that he really killed it to his friends waiting in the alley. I paid for it, and I paid for it quite a lot since, and have studied the subject since I have a lot of friends who are as nerdy losers as I am. First, you want to temper your expectations. It won't be mind-blowing, life-altering or paradigm-shifting, but if you have a fear of missing out lurking in the back of your head, it's not a bad idea. Second, you want to be older. Your confidence matters quite a lot, and prostitutes in general, the ones you want at least, tend to fall within the 22 to 30 age range. When you're older, you're more confident, especially with people your own age. Also, if you're not already through college, there's a lot of opportunity for sex if you look for it there. Wait till your social life dries up due to work before you pay for it. Third, being older also helps with being richer. You want to spend enough money that your partner isn't looking at the clock all the time. Your average jerk shack or massage parlor tend to work on a one-shot basis, so they're very keen to get you off, but not very keen on foreplay. In the Western world, $250 is a good standard. Of course, there is diminishing returns and you shouldn't go much beyond that. Vegas is especially guilty of price gouging, don't ask how I know. Fourth, do your research. Sex work is very regional. Because of different laws and different levels of enforcement, the standard form that sex work takes vary from region to region. In general, you want the kind that is private, and limited by time, not shots. An independent worker is nice because you can usually talk to them a little online to build rapport and let them know your circumstance. But a competent booker or madam knows a nervous virgin when they see one and will recommend based on your circumstances and proclivities, so that you'd come back again. Not me, but one of my buddies in the army told me how he had been a virgin up until we got stationed in Germany. They took him out and got him ridiculously drunk and dragged him to the red light district. Whenever we got drunk enough he'd always cry and tell me how it was the biggest mistake of his life and how he hated losing his virginity to some girl that had 25 genitals slipping out of her all damn day. I honestly never seen someone that genuinely hurt, so I probably wouldn't advise it. That the hardest part about losing my virginity to a sex worker is not knowing how to explain it to future partners. It's hard to imagine being honest about it to someone I fall in love with, which inherently makes it harder to be close to people. The experience was rather meh. She came over, we had intercourse, I didn't finish, she walked my dog, I had an unrelated injury. It did kickstart me learning about myself and my body, which I appreciate. I was in a dark place mentally and physically and needed to get the proverbial monkey off my back, which I don't necessarily regret. I just feel it makes it harder to connect and be truly open and honest. My father and I were in Lebanon. It was time to fly back to where we live, but I asked him if I could stay in Beirut for a couple days longer just until my 15th birthday. He was reluctant, but agreed since my cousins lived in the city and they would look out for me. He left me some pocket money, a hotel room, and a ticket for a flight back. It was my first taste of independence and that's what I always dreamed of. The day after my birthday, I was at a hookah place with a friend. Around 1 a.m., I flagged down a cab to go to the hotel. The driver was a 60-year-old man chain smoking cigarettes. We started talking and the guy asked me if I like women. I said yeah, and he invited me out with him to a night out where he said there would be drinks and women and stuff. I obliged, because I was naive and adventurous like that. Next thing I know we're an hour out of town and we arrive in a dark, quiet neighborhood. I follow him into an apartment building. He bribes a guy at the door to let me in after a conversation where he seemed tripped out that I was even there. Eventually, I enter a room out of a damn film noir. Red lights only. A row of women at the bar. Old men drinking, smoking and looking at me like, what the hell is this kid doing here? This is when I realize, I'm in a brothel. I sit and order a whiskey. A lady then takes my hand and leads me down some stairs after some conversation. The basement consisted of a couple of changing room-like spaces closed with curtains. I was so weirded out, and couldn't stop thinking about the fact that I was losing my virginity in such a strange way. I couldn't get hard. We were in that room for 20 awkward sweaty minutes, and I would have given up if it wasn't for the fact that I was ripped off and wanted to at least get something out of it. From the moment I walked into that place I knew I wanted to go home. It sucked. It felt sad and lonely and dirty. Point is, don't do it. But if you do or did, it's not the end of the world. Don't get bogged down in technicalities and semantics. Technically my first time was with a hooker in Beirut at 15. But when I think back to my first time, I'm 17 in my high school sweetheart's bedroom after her mother went out to run some errands. A clean, euphoric, fairy tale experience. That's what I choose to remember.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end. We want to thank you again for giving us a few minutes of your time, and we wish you have a great rest of your day, night, or whenever you're watching this. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe. It really does help us a lot. That's it from me. Roll the outro.